Hey, everybody. As you guys see, Doniping in the background. I just got this chair a little while ago and it's become his favorite napping chair. Hopefully he doesn't start barking. If he does, I'm so sorry. It's usually when the FedEx people come, he starts barking. And if he does, I will probably jump out of my skin. But anyway, so there's just a quick disclaimer there. I wanted to come in and talk about this because I was on 3 phone calls and talked to somebody about this. 2 people last week, I think. This is a topic that's been coming up like quite a bit. So in case this is something that you're struggling with, I wanted to share with you kind of like my opinion on this in the way that I kind of like handle it and just see what you guys think. There's obviously sometimes there can be like a fear around money when it comes to starting your own business, whatever you're doing, like the whole aspect of asking for money in exchange for your services doesn't come naturally to a lot of people, surprisingly. And it is something that you have to kind of like learn how to be okay with, for one, learn how to be comfortable with it, and learn how to have an understanding that like you asking for money in exchange for your services is not like doing anything wrong. You're exchanging value for value. And a lot of times money is a thing that everybody agrees is valuable. And so that's why that is used a lot of times in exchange for services. So that is like a whole concept. And believe me, like I have had my own struggles and fears around me for a long time and still sometimes do. So, like if this is you, you're in good company, like you're not alone. And it's something that a lot of us go through. So it's okay. Like it's normal to have like weirds around it. But where this can really like stunt your growth and where I feel like a lot of people recently have been stuck is in this idea of like my patients are not buying in, nobody wants to pay cash, I can't get my patients to commit to a plan of care, and there's a lot of factors that go into all of this. But I wanted to bring up like this one kind of like thought experiment that I like to ask everybody about, because we need to, like I wrote in the description, need to have some real talk around it, because if we're not being honest with ourselves, it makes it really hard to just like move forward. And so these situations, right? Like let's talk about like number one, nobody is going to pay me cash for my services. So I run a cash-based business. Drop a comment below if you are also on the cash train. I'd love to know, because I know that there are some people in here who are cash-based only, some who bill out of network, some who bill in network, some are a mix of everything. So comment below with what you are. I'd love to know. But like I think specifically for those of us who are on the cash train, and if you're feeling this on the insurance train, please tell me too. It's starting right there at the top with like nobody's going to pay me cash. So what I like to ask somebody who tells me that, I turn it around on them and say like, okay, like you clinician therapist with a cash-based business standing in front of me, I understand that you are worried that no patients are going to pay you cash. We have Lauren here. Hey Lauren. Lauren's watching. She's a cash-based business. So what I like to ask cash-based clinicians then is, would you, if you were a patient, would you pay out of pocket for your services or for other services? Like we have to be real about that. If we are wanting to run like a cash-based practice and ask people to pay out of pocket for services that their insurance may or may not cover somewhere else, like I think it's really hard to stand there confidently and ask somebody to pay you out of pocket if you are not willing to pay out of pocket for your own healthcare, or your own whatever it is, like whatever services you value, whatever outcome you're trying to get. If you're not willing to invest in that, how can you then turn around and ask somebody to invest in their health and invest like in your services? So like if there's a mismatch there, I think it makes it like struggle bus. You stay on it for a lot longer. So, for example, like I feel like through this journey, obviously like I've gained a lot of respect for people who have cash-based businesses, and that's the way that I want to be. And even though I know that upfront, like it can cost a good chunk of change to invest in your health out of pocket, a lot of times it ends up being like such a better experience and you get a better outcome a lot quicker than you would in some other situations with other like payment options. option. And so I've gone from a place of like, always wanting to use my insurance for whatever healthcare thing I'm getting as a patient to now like I am willing to look for private professionals because I want to pay for that experience. Like whether it's mental health counseling or like I have friends here that I would 100% see and pay to treat me like whenever I'm having an issue. So like I am willing to do that. And my question to you, if this is you, if you're having trouble with this thought process that nobody wants to pay me cash or nobody's going to buy into this, I want to ask you if you are willing to pay cash for similar services. Because like if you're not, we need to go back and examine that thought process right there. That's gonna hold you back if you're trying to sell something that you wouldn't pay for. Like it doesn't make like a lot of, and it takes time. It does take time, right, to develop that mindset and everything and wrap your head around if you truly are willing to invest in your own health, business, whatever it is. It takes time to get there, but we need to be honest with ourselves about where we're at right now and if you do want to get to that place. So that's the like first primary thing is nobody's willing to pay cash for my services. Okay, great. Like, are you willing to pay cash for your services? And then point number 2, patients are not buying in or won't admit. So you might be able to get somebody to an evaluation, to an initial session, but then you're dealing with like a lot of cancellations or, like just like not a lot of cash flow. You feel like you're living session to session to session because you are, charging by the session and you don't know whether somebody is going to cancel or not. Jerry Durham did a great talk in here for the 100 challenge. I think it was then he talked about how like they only sell single sessions, which I love. And then I know another therapist who does that too, but they do a really good job pre-framing, setting up a patient and like setting their expectations and letting them know like if they want the result, they need to commit to the full plan of care. And the way that I like to do that, and for the way that like I like to have my business set up, is I sell things packages. Like I sell entire plans of care and sell the solution to a problem instead of just saying, like, come back whenever you want. Like that's kind of like the thing that seems to happen a little bit is like you might be able to get a patient in for an evaluation, but then you feel like you can't get them to come back. It probably has to do something with one, your mindset, going back to my previous point about like, would you be willing to commit to a plan of care? And if you're not, then like we need to work on that, work on ourselves. And then 2 has to do a little bit with your sales skills and the way that you communicate what it is that you're suggesting to the person, the confidence that you have with it. I wanted this video to be mainly about like mindset. Ask yourself if you would be willing to do the same thing that you're trying to ask your patient to do. And if you're getting frustrated with their lack of commitment, are you frustrated about it because, you yourself are not willing to commit to things? Whether it is investing in your own healthcare or investing in your business by jumping into a coaching program or buying new software or buying new equipment, like whatever it is, like if you have a fear of commitment for yourself, it makes it really hard to ask somebody else to commit to you. So I'd love to hear, like in the comments, if this is something that you guys have dealt with before or seen pop up. If you disagree with me, love it. Like let's have a discussion in the comments, but we need to be honest with ourselves about this commitment level, and if you feel like you are 100% committed, but you are just like not able to get like that buy-in still, like if you're like, Morgan, I'm 100% on board for myself. Like I ask my patients to do the same thing that like I would do myself, but you still feel like you're not getting that buy-in, let me know in the comments, because then we can do maybe like another video about sales stuff. And just, I don't know, hopefully this spoke to somebody out there who might be like kind of struggling with like their thoughts, like anxiety about it, and not really being sure how to get patients to buy in. This is like the first step, is asking yourself, am I also willing to commit, and being honest about it. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully that spoke to somebody, and I will talk to you soon.